What's up, YouTube? This is your host with the most, King G on the house. I hope you had a great weekend. I know that throughout the week, if you saw my post, I was putting my post down. It's universal healthcare good. Some people said no, because anyway, a lot of people that don't know anything about universal healthcare. I'm not going to go into this post right now, but you should look it up. What what entails in universal healthcare, and is it better than the healthcare system that we do have now? But anyway. Now it's story time. I'm gonna tell you a story. If you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so. Okay. Alright. So I got married back in September 11, 2000, right? In August, I had a beautiful daughter. 10 months later, when she was born, around, I would say September, October, my mother and I went to Puerto Rico. We moved to Puerto Rico, and our plan was to stay in Puerto Rico. But things didn't work out. I would say 8-9 months later, she decided to cheat on me, right? So she cheated on me, and she met this guy talking through a walkie-talkie in Puerto Rico. So the day she met him, she came over to the house. We were living together. She went out. She said, "I'm going to go outside." She went. She met this guy, and she came back that same night, saying that she was going to leave with the guy. So I said, "Go ahead." She goes, "I'm taking the girl." I'm taking my daughter. I said, "No, you're not." And now, mind you, I didn't say, "No, you're not," because I was being rebellious. No, because I'm a firm believer that a child needs both their parents, and if they're not going to be together, at least, if mom is good enough, they give it to mom, and I'll, as dad, I go visit my child whenever I want to. I can see my child on the weekend. I certainly not going to miss on the important parts of my daughter's life, or my kid's life, for that matter. So, I said, "No, I'm not." No, I said, "No, you're not." And she's like, "Yes, I am." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "You just met that guy. Our daughter's 10 months old, and you think that I'm going to let you take our daughter to a house, to a guy that I know nothing about, or that you know nothing about, let alone me, you. If you want to get your rocks on, that's on you," but she stays. So she left. That was on a Sunday. I remember it was on a Sunday of 2000, we went to Puerto Rico 2012. The Sunday 2003, right? So just figured 2003, midsummer time, July. So then she left on a Sunday. Monday came, she didn't pass by. Tuesday came, she didn't pass by. Thursday came, Thursday came, and she passed by. And she went, and she came looking for her clothes. She didn't ask for her daughter. She just came for her clothes. And I said, "Sit down, I want to talk to you. What's going on? As a husband, I was like, let's try to work things out." She's like, "No, blah blah," and she left. So as she left, I got called to the walkie-talkie. I was on the walkie-talkie too, but I wasn't like that. So they go, "Yo, G, your wife's up here with a guy in the car." I said, "All right." So I walk up the block, and when I get up to the block, the kid's nowhere to be found. So I leave anyway. So to make a long story short, right? A few months later, she came to the house on my daughter's birthday, and I caught a seizure because I stopped drinking. And she took me to the hospital. She came over to the hospital. I was begging her like a fool, let's get back together again. She's like, "No, blah, 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 blah." And then one day she had a discussion with him. They had argued. She came back to my house. And when she came back to my house, she told me she was pregnant. We haven't been together in months. I said, "All right. What you want me to do?" I was just telling her, like, "Okay, fine, no problem." So then, a few days later, she went back with him. So I went to Puerto Rico. I went to New York, and I stood in New York. And my daughter was with my parents. At that time, through the course of this whole thing, I took her to court for abandonment. She abandoned our child. And the courts gave temporary custody to my parents, to my mother, actually, because I was drinking. So my mother's having her like me having her. I said, "Okay, fine. I agree with that. Let me get my stuff together, and then I'll pursue." So I went to New York for a while, just to get my mind off of things. And while I'm in New York, everybody keeps telling me, "Gio, have you done your HIV test?" I'm like, "Nah, man. Why? The whole month that I was in New York, they kept asking me that same question. I'm like, "What the?" They finally asked my brother, "Listen, what's up?" Because his brother worked. His ex-wife at that time worked at a clinic, and the clinic that she worked at that time, But somehow my brother found out that she was HIV positive, but cannot tell me anything. And I asked her, she said, "Oh no." I thought, "Listen, did your test results came back?" She goes, "Yeah, I came out negative." I said, "Are you sure? Because mine's coming back in a few days, and I need to know." She goes, "I don't know where." I already knew her results. The following day, she came over to my house with her bags and everything. And I go, "You know what? You know that my results came back? Oh, I didn't know." I said, "What you mean you didn't know? Your results came out positive. Or came out reactive. What the fuck you think reactive means? You've been in this country for so long, you know that non-reactive means negative and reactive means that it's positive. You know that. Why couldn't you tell me that? You know, I would have known this, you know, a long time ago. You know, and my family knew that she was positive. My brother knew she was positive. Had they told me that she was positive, I would have stayed in New York and I would have avoided the headache that I was going through now. But anyway, it does not matter because I would have never met my second wife. So here I am. And I'm saying, you know, what you want to do? I don't know what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Man, you know, it's stupid. So you want to get back together again?" She's like, "I don't know." I said, "Listen, why don't we go to New York? In New York, there's a lot of help out there. We're trying to work things out, me and you. The child's not mine, so, you know, I'll see what I can do. And you want me to, you know, she goes, "I don't want to do a baby's father. I don't want to do anything." What happened is that she never told baby's father that she was positive. And once she found out that she was positive, she tried to put herself into a psychiatric ward. So this way, she didn't have to tell him. Right? But that didn't work out because the psychiatric ward didn't take her. They should have, because she's bipolar. They didn't take her. So her best bet was to go to New York with me. So we went to New York. I was, you know, like I said, I can't pass it on to nobody. This is not my thing. This is. I don't do this. I don't roll like this. So we went to New York. I fought tooth and nail for us to have an apartment. Finding a gentleman, a director of a program, said, "Gee, I'm gonna put you on the list because your tenacity. I mean, it gets to me. I know you want to, and you want to do something." Because he never wanted to come with me to sign anything. So we got our first apartment, and everything was going okay. And then I had gone to, things didn't work out. So I took my daughter came with us. My daughter came with us the second time, and she stood with us. And then when I saw things that didn't work out, there were certain parts of the story that I am omitting because it's not relevant to where I'm getting to. So then my daughter went to New York, went to Puerto Rico. I stood in New York. Then I said, "Fuck it, I want to go back to New York." So on May 4th, 2004, I went back to New York. And I went back to Puerto Rico. And I've been in Puerto Rico from May 4th until June 16th of 2016. So through this whole year, so from May 4th to June 16th, 2006, this woman never saw her daughter. This woman never called her daughter. This woman never did anything. Didn't even give me child support. Finally, in 2009, the courts gave me custody, full custody of my daughter. I finally got divorced in 2011. I'm sorry, 2011. I finally got custody of my daughter. I finally got full custody of my daughter, and I finally got child support. When I was in New York, the first time that she gave birth to her child, I gave her my name. I never had a son. I thought things were going to work out between her and I. She didn't want to. She said, "Don't do that." You know, that word there. Like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to give it. So you know, it's not the baby's fault. You know, at least I get to play with the boy, and he called me dad, and if things don't work out, you know, he'll think I'm his dad, and I can go play with baseball. We know what the father and son do. So that didn't work out. So I give a name, blah blah blah. He was born in March. Things didn't work out. April came. He was born in 2003. I went to my niece's house. Things happened. That's the omitting part. And then in May 4th of 2006, May 4th of 2004, I decided to go back to Puerto Rico and take care of my daughter. I met my wife before I got divorced. Before I got married, I got divorced, and through that divorce, they gave me custody of my daughter. So I had full custody of my daughter since I've had my daughter since my daughter was 10 months old. And that's when she left. She abandoned at 10 months old. So I've had her for all her life. So here I am. I go back to New York. Right? So she called me in 2009. She goes, yo, G, I need to get your social security number because, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, my social security number for what? Because, you know, you always do some stupid shit, and I wanted to make sure that it was correct. I didn't think about it when I was drinking, right? So when I gave her my social, and that was in 2009, 2016, I go to New York with my wife, my family, and everything. I buy a car, I'm going to insure it. And the insurance, it was Geico, and Geico said, we can't insure you. Why? You have to suspend the license. Suspend the license for what? To check down, you get child support. Child support? I don't know anything about no child support. So, in order for my child support, in order for me to get my license, a license I never had in New York, but what they do is that they'll make up a number for you, and then that number becomes your driver's license. If you ever decide to get a license in New York, that'll be your driver's license number. So they had to spend that. So I had to sign a paper that I was in welfare, that I was getting food stamps, and if you get food stamps, they cannot take away your driver's license. So I did all that, and I went in front of the judge. And the judge, I was like, Your Honor, this child is not mine. This child, she knows who the baby's father is. I don't know why I'm paying child support. He goes, well, the law dictates now, and they have sent you a piece of paper to Puerto Rico saying that you had child support. I said, no one ever sent me paperwork. And I said, believe you me, Your Honor, if they would have sent me paperwork, you and I would be in this courtroom right now. And she denied my motion, and they put me down to pay $55 a month for child support. I went, and I put in a motion to dismiss that. So I did 3 different motions. In 3 different motions, the court did not decide, did not want to budge on the order. $55 a month is nothing, guys, but $55 a month for a child that's not yours, that's a lot. That's $600 a month a year that I could be using, you know. And I kept fighting. I said, yeah, the last time that I was in front of this judge before today, like, Your Honor, this child is not mine. So she asked him, ma'am, is Mr. What? Is he the father of your child? She goes, no, he is not. Do you know the father of your child? She goes, yes, I do. I said, well, then why don't you have him pay child support so this way this person, Mr. You know what? Mr. Quinchillo doesn't have to pay for child support. And she didn't, and that was 2 years ago. So this kid turned 18 years old this upcoming March. And the reason that she gets child support is because when you're in New York, if you're on child support, if you're on welfare, just food stamps, then DSS, the Department of Social Services, will not go after you for child support. But if you get money, if you get cash, which in New York, you get cash twice a week. In New York, if you get cash, by them giving you cash, they be supporting you, then they'll go after you for child support. So she must have, when she asked me for my social security number, she gave that up to DSS. She knows I'm not the father. She knows I got nothing to do with that kid. She knows that I'm not going to be in that kid's life. She could have easily said, you know what, I don't know where he's at. Because if you wanted to know where he's at, why you didn't give him the baby's father's real name? So the kid's name is after me. He got my last name and everything. And there are some states that if you have a child within marriage and it's not yours, then you sign up, it's your child. And that's in those states, even in Puerto Rico. So that was the binding part of it. So in around July, what was July? I'm sorry. Around March, I'm pretending to be a DSS worker, and I text her, my baby's mother, through an app, pretending to be a DSS worker. And there she confessed that she's no longer receiving food stamps, and she hasn't received food stamps in a while. I said, okay. That's when I put my motion. I put my motion to have my child support eliminated. So the first time the court, we did it viral. She didn't show up. I told the judge, Your Honor, I need to get this done over with because she's no longer getting support. It's true, she hasn't been getting food stamps since May of last year. Everything that I've been paying since from May, they should give it back to me. I don't know. This is DSS. So then the last time, like a month ago, they called me up again, another vital thing, meeting, and she wasn't there because I can't take the papers to her because I cannot serve her. Someone else had to serve her. And my friend, who I thought was my friend, which I took her out of my Facebook, I asked her to serve her for me because she's in the Bronx. My baby mom is in Yonkers. When she goes to work, she has to go through that route anyway. But she gets, so I said, you know what, fuck it. So today, by that time, the judge said, I want to see what this lady has to say. And she being that she's no longer getting food stamp and that, because the food stamp now child support has to go to her. Before it went to DSS because now it has to go to her. If she wants to continue with the child support, but she has nothing to do with it. So they got in contact with her today. When we were in court today, she said she had nothing to do with it. And so the court has finally taken away this child support off from me. And I've been battling this since 2016. And it just tells you how how deceitful a woman can be. I've never, not once, did I ever ask her for child support when I had my daughter. Not once, because I don't need it. I asked her to help me out in giving her advice. I asked her to help me out in certain things because she called my daughter once every 6 months or once every 7 months. The problem is my daughter, she would call again, and she never did. And my daughter would get sad. And I said, if you're not going to call my daughter on a constant basis, do not call. Because you're giving her false hopes, and I don't like that. So, not once in 18 years did she ever give me anything. Not once did she send her daughter a birthday card. Not once. We moved to New York, and from where we were in Brooklyn to Yonkers, was an hour away. She didn't even see her daughter. My daughter, when she turned 18 years old, she moved out the house. She went with her boyfriend that she's with now. Offered her to go pick her up in Yonkers so they can meet for the first time. And then she said, okay. And when my daughter was going to go meet, she said, oh, no, I'm sorry, I got things to do. I can't. And my daughter said, I'll go pick you up. Oh, no, that's okay. And today, my daughter's 20. She turned 21 in August. She still hasn't seen her mom. Think about that. So, this woman, she told my daughter even told her, why don't you have your child support taken away from my dad? You know he's not the father. She said, well, he was a stupid one to sign a birth certificate, so let him deal with the consequences. I don't give a shit. Instead of saying, you know what, man, this man has taken care of my daughter. This man has made sure that my daughter has food. This man made sure that my daughter had clothes. This man made sure that my daughter was safe. I can't be doing this to him. Well, let me go to court. Yeah, your daughter, he's not the father. Let me knock this off the bat. Or when you want to sign a piece of paper, you show services, you just said, I don't know his birth certificate. I don't know his birth certificate. I don't know his birthday. I know his birthday. I don't know his social security number. Who knows that birthday? Who knows their spouse's social security number? But she just said, I don't know him, but she didn't. I don't know him. It could have just been left at that. I had to file my taxes because of that. This woman was very, very, very vindictive. When she first had a kid at 18, she had two. At 16 and 17. At 17 years old, her daughter was a few months old. A baby's father and her had an argument, and she took out a knife on her daughter and put her on her neck. And the father went outside, called the cops. They took her to psychiatric hospital. There she stood there for a few days, a few weeks I think it was. When she came back out of the hospital, she came out with a man to go to the house. Hickey's here, Hickey's there. And he goes, you can stay here if you want to, but you cannot come anywhere. She decided not to, she left. And then that's when I met her in the shelter. And she told me a story, she told me a different story. So right there and then I should have known, you don't got your children, you're 18 years old, you got your children. But I didn't think of it that way, I don't judge. So I said, okay, fine, we started going out, and I asked her to marry me. That was the worst. And that was that. And and her two kids, I spent more time not to this day, until 2016, because their father passed away. I spent more times with that woman's kids than she ever did. Because when I went to New York, I stood in his house. Whenever I went to New York, we hung out. I spent time with his kids. I babysat his kids. Weird, right? His kids used to call me Uncle Gio. And then when he passed away, she's like, I don't want to go see him. When he passed away, that man gave his life for his kids. And all he needed was a liver. And I didn't know a kidney. And his daughter didn't want to give it to him because what if he doesn't go with his liver? What if he messes up? He goes back to drinking and blah this and blah that. And I'm like, forget about that. That's your dad. But she didn't care. She's like, I'm not gonna give him a liver. I'm not gonna give him this. So he actually died after that. But it just shocks me. It shocks me that women can be so cruel. So guys, before you even have sex with a girl, she tells you to kids, when the baby's born, get that paternity test. It don't cost much, bro. It really don't. Less than $100 for DNA test. And if not, the courts will pay for it. And you make sure that child is yours. You do not want to pay. First of all, you don't want to get attached to a child that's not yours. Because when you do get attached to it, and you go to court, it's going to be kind of hard. And then you don't want to disappoint the child, because the courts, even I will be looking at the interest of the child. So you have to think about that. Get yourself DNA, make sure that it says 99.9%, it's not going to say 100, 99.9% it's your child. You have to. You don't want to go to water going. There are a lot of men who are going through worse. Paying child support for kids that aren't even there. I was only paying $55. Can you imagine the people that are paying $500, $2,000, $300? That's a lot of money. But they already grew up with their kids. They're attached to their kids. Then to take that away from the kids and say, I'm not your dad, that's kind of harsh for a kid. I can't do that. But it is what it is. So today, finally, no more child support for me. Amen. Keep staying tuned to my channel. Smash the like button and subscribe, guys. Subscribe.